starts at home. And I guarantee you that 9 out of 10 dentists would recommend that. Thank you for letting me speak. I hope I gathered the sentiments of everybody gathered here today, and from the approval, thank you.
Where's the petition?
The petition we're about to make, thank you for getting us to this, because the process of this assembly is as important as the product. Because, and let's be transparent, we wanted to do a general assembly, a true consensus model general assembly, and create a petition from scratch to represent the views of everybody gathered here today. But we faced some conflict with the parade and just some size, limitations, which is fine, we still could have done it. But in the spirit of solidarity with the 30 cities across Canada, we did come up with some pre-made statements based on input that we got online, and we want to share that with people here today. So I'm going to pass it to Ayendri, who's from the Center of Gender and Social Justice, who agreed to be our facilitator today, and I'd like to thank her for that. Take it away.
All right, folks. There were some concerns about voice. Can people hear us?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to use the human mic?
How about the bullhorn?
I use the bull.
Use the bullhorn.
Oh yeah, sure.
Go for it.
Sure. All right. Well, hey, this might be fun. There's this concept that kind of came out of New York called the human mic, and it's used in movements across the world. And it's a way of projecting a voice so that everybody can hear and it's accessible. And it's pretty much a repeat after me. So who's ever speaking, when we get to the assembly, and this is what we're all here for because I don't like the idea of being on a soapbox, is when somebody speaks, you repeat after them. So, for example, democracy starts at home.
Democracy starts at home.
Thank you for repeating that.
Thank you for repeating that.
And in this way, everybody knows what's going on, and everybody can be a part of the conversation.
And in this way,
Everyone knows what's going on, and everyone can be a part of the conversation.
That was a trick one.
Oh, that was a trick one.
So let's move on to the assembly bit. And okay, so let's move on to the assembly bit.
Move on to the assembly bit.
And for the record, we use the word mic check to get everybody back in.
For the record, we use the word mic check to get everybody back in.
So let's move forward with the assembly.
Let's move forward with the assembly.
I would like to propose that we go through the prepared statements and come to consensus on each one. In this way, we will demonstrate to Parliament that 60 strangers in a park can come together and work on one idea. So why can't they in Parliament do the same?
They're turning up their music.
So we'll just get louder and louder. Okay, do you want me to hit the foot on?
Yeah, you can do that. Do you remember?
They're right there. Can you pass me the black one? Thank you. Yeah. They can get what we come up with.
They can get what we come up with.
Because this is an assembly. So, with your permission, I'd like to start proposing the statements of the petition. That. Whereas the government of Canada represents a relationship that all Canadians must create together, vote by vote, through democratic, open, accessible and transparent elections. This is our first statement that we would propose. I'd like to forward a non-binding consensus check
I'd like to put forward a non-binding consensus check
using the hand signals
that
that we discussed.
we discussed.
Is there approval
Is there approval
or in dissent
or dissent
for this statement?
for this statement?
As a caveat, I'd just like to mention that in real democracy, dissent is more than encouraged
Dissent is more than encouraged
because it allows us to create a more perfect product.
to create a more perfect product.
Keep that in mind.
Keep that in mind.
So that was a temperature check.
So that was a temperature check.
Is there any changes people would like to propose?
Is there any changes people would like to propose?
It's okay. Sorry. It's okay. I think he's going to take over the facilitation.
Because of voice. Do you want to try the mic check?
Do you want to continue?
It doesn't matter. Anybody? Sure. If you, it's up to you. I keep going.
Go for it.
Okay. Yeah.
Should I go in here?
Yes, just like Leandra.
Yeah.
Let's cross that part over.
All right. Hi, folks.
High five.
Hi, folks.
Just to let everyone know, the whereas statements and the petition are available in front of you here.
Whereas statements and the petition are available in front of you here.
Smaller statements.
Smaller statements.
Okay, I'm just going to go through that last sentence.
I'm just going to go through
that last sentence.
Whereas the Government of Canada
Whereas the government of Canada
represents a relationship that all Canadians
represents a relationship that all Canadians
must create together,
must create together,
vote by vote,
vote by vote,
through democratic, open, accessible,
democratic, open, and accessible,
and transparent elections.
and transparent elections.
Would there be any suggestions for modifying this sentence?
This sentence.
Added grievances?
Any grievances?
Can I get a consensus? Moving on to the next statement.
Moving on to the next statement.
Whereas public confidence in the electoral process represents a national trust in the ability of our government to perform the duties and services that we as individuals cannot perform ourselves. Are there any suggestions on how to modify this statement? I think it sounds really good.
I think it sounds really good.
Can I get a consensus?
That's 2 consensuses in a row.
On to the next statement. Whereas this national trust represents Canada's greatest resources towards building a genuinely just,
Prosperous.
and equitable state while overcoming issues of national and global concern. Are there any suggestions on how to modify this statement? Can I get a consensus?
Yeah.
Whereas in the 41st federal election, Elections Canada has received
Elections Canada has received
more than 31,000 complaints
more than 31,000 complaints
of fraudulent activities across
of fraudulent activities across
77 ridings,
77 ridings,
allegedly targeting Liberal and NDP supporters
Liberal and NDP supporters
in an effort to deny Canadian citizens their fundamental, nonpartisan, sacrosanct right to vote. Are there any suggestions?
Are there any suggestions?
I pose the question as to whether all 31,000 complaints were fraudulent reports of fraud.
Were reports of fraud.
I think we owe it to Elections Canada to review those calls and ascertain exactly how many were fraudulent or misdirecting.
Exactly how many were fraudulent or misdirecting? Your name, sir? Joel. With an
We filed a complaint to Elections Canada last April and who was told that Elections Canada did not have sufficient jurisdiction to investigate her complaint. I am concerned that in the end nothing will come of the investigations into the 33,000 complaints.
As a suggestion, I'd like to take the whiteboard and write down the last two suggestions. Can I get a consensus?
Does anybody have decent writing?